Music Production.
Yo, I remember going over, maybe I didn't go over it back in 2020, but I definitely it was on my radar, on my watch list. I was paying attention to this JKS, Jinko Solar Holding Company. I used to work at a solar farm actually. I've always thought the idea of renewable energy was very interesting, especially now when you could use solar farms to generate Bitcoin. And, there's a bunch of other use cases that I find very interesting. But aside from that, this stock chart I've been paying attention to for a couple years now, since 2020. And what I like about it the most right now is how we're creating this pattern that's developing over a long period of time, right? So I'm going to mark out this pattern for you, right? It might not seem like anything's happening, but I think there's a clear resistance level, right? So back in 2020, we had this huge push, and you could see by these wicks over here, right? We could mark it out that this zone has clearly been resistance, right? This is $74 and it goes up to 90. But we'll mark it out like this, right? 74 to $80, right? That's our resistance in this range. All-time high resistance, you could say, right? Now, even though we had that big downturn, we're creating higher lows on a weekly time frame, and there is a large respect for this lower trend line that we got going on here, right? Look how many times we've used this trend line as support. Even when we come back down here, even after weeks of consolidation, we come back and somebody is buying off of this trend line. So maybe it's a group of companies, maybe it's one big whale, who knows? But essentially, this is my favorite part of this chart. It's creating, right now, in my opinion, some sort of triangle pattern, right? I'll show you guys the Apple chart to get an idea of how to play this. But essentially what I'm looking at, and in my opinion, again, not financial advice, but in my opinion, this is what we're looking at. And what we want to see is we want to get this breakout above this trend line to tackle the all-time high resistance. And if or when it happens, right, we get that breakout, we come here, we want to weaken that zone, play around close to it, and then get that breakout where we will see new all-time high prices. Right? So again, I'm going to pull up this Apple chart and I'll show you how to play that triangle, right? So it looks very similar in my opinion, right? We have this trend line that's used as support and there's a resistance that's holding us back, but we're slowly getting tighter and tighter, closer into that range. So we see that we break out, we get the back test, and we continue on upward, right? So when we're looking at this JKS, Jinko Solar Company, right, over this large weekly time frame, we'll zoom out, right? The monthly looks very similar too, right? So we're finally on the monthly time frame getting that 8 EMA crossing over the 20 like we did back here. And we want to see this again, use the 8 EMA as support. That will be bullish for us. So that's what I'm paying attention to in this name, right? It seems to me that when you look at the monthly time frame and you really break it down, we've had this huge pattern. Again, another triangle that helped us create this tightening range. We break out, and this is the second stage of the consolidation, right? This huge breakout needed time to consolidate, and now we're getting that. So I'm looking forward to see the next few weeks and months. Are we going to get the follow through that we're looking for in this name that will bring us further up to around $100, right? Maybe around that range. If we use the Fibonacci extension tool, we could probably get a decent look on how far we'll go, right? So this is telling us here, I'm going to drag it out a bit. This level is at 28 bucks. Right around here. We drag it out again, right? That $108 is the first target if we do continue this uptrend with that trend line, right? From a monthly time frame, it looks like it's going sideways, but if you zoom into the weeklies, right, it's telling us clearly that this trend line is being absolutely respected. So somebody and many people or investors, companies, hedge funds, whales, who knows, they're buying off that level. So that's what I think is interesting about this JKS chart, and I hope this breakdown kind of can help you add this play to your catalog or your database or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's the breakdown, guys. Peace.